My yard used to look like this, but now it looks like this. So let's take a walk and talk about how I got here. When I first moved in, this whole boulevard strip was full of really nasty, low quality turf. Sometimes people call this the hell strip because nothing ever really looks very good in it. However, I put in a whole bunch of native plants that live in prairies and are well adapted. They never need to be watered. And after 14 years, they filled in so tightly that they don't really need to be weeded either. I've got a ton of the common milkweed in my yard, and it is one that gets really tall. As you can see, it is great for the monarch butterflies, but it is one that will just kind of pop up all over the place. So sometimes it's nice to know about other varieties of milkweed that you can plant in your yard. Down here, I have some butterfly weed, and this is one that grows really well in hot, dry settings. It's native to prairies, and it will also act as a host for the monarch caterpillar. They call it milkweed because, as you can see, the sap is thick and white and looks a lot like milk. The fun thing about the boulevard garden is that it is constantly changing throughout the season. So in the beginning, when the Canada anemone are blooming, it is mostly white, and then you hit the summertime and it gets really bright and vibrant and yellow. But then I've also got purple asters in there for late season blooms in the fall. A full 75% of the land in Minnesota is privately owned. So it really speaks to the importance of regular people planting native landscapes in order to create connected habitat corridors for wildlife, birds, and pollinators. Well, let's follow the path and see where it goes. And here's my view from the bench in the front yard. It kind of feels like a secret garden because I've got all these little herb beds and pathways that are tucked underneath the hawthorn tree. This one is wild ginger, and it loves living in the shade. If you're looking for the first place to get started in your yard, I think that a tree or a grouping of native shrubs is the perfect anchor point to begin building from. This grouping of shrubs over here includes some dogwoods, and it's always just full of birds. And I planted some native clematis. It's called Virgin's Bower, creeping over this arbor. When it starts blooming, it has these really pretty white flowers, kind of look like baby's breath. It will be just literally buzzing with bees, but I can walk right past it and never worry about the bees being aggressive. We've got a super shady backyard, so I planted a lot of native plants like ferns and wild ginger, Jacob's ladder, things that can excel in the shade. Then in this kind of in-between zone, we do have some tall plants like this big bodacious one known as Joe Pye. If you think of your yard as a living ecosystem, it should be constantly buzzing with activity. And that means not just birds, but also insects. So when I zoom in on these flowers, you're going to see butterflies, you're going to see bees, you're going to see milkweed beetles. All of these beneficial insects are necessary and an important component of your yard. Oh, nothing much. It's just the turtle and I communing with nature. I'd say that our backyard has a lot of character, but it's also a lived-in space. My son plays here. We have our friends over. The dog runs around in the backyard. But there are these really cool components like a very, very, very old rock wall. And a lot of native plants have actually shown up on their own, like this jack in the pulpit that shows up in shady wet spots, or the anise hyssop, which planted itself by our back door. Don't worry about trying to transform your yard overnight. Start small. Add a few native flowers to an existing garden bed, put in a pocket planting, maybe a tree, maybe a grouping of shrubs. Every year you can add on a few more things until eventually your yard can be transformed into a living oasis.